welcome to the Musicians Talk Show, episode number 21. Usually my co-host Matt Tolley is here with me to do the intros, but he is not here today. He is, however, a part of this interview. Today's podcast is brought to you by Bandzoogle. Bandzoogle makes it easy to build a stunning website for your music in minutes. Choose from hundreds of mobile-friendly themes, then customize your design and content in a few clicks with their super easy visual editor. All the features you need for a professional website are already built in, including tools to sell your music and merch commission-free right there on your website. Commission-free, guys. Come on. Where else can you find that? Mailing list tools to grow your fan list and send newsletters. Integrations to pull in content from all your online services like Twitter, Instagram, more socials, SoundCloud too. And live support from their musician-friendly team 7 days a week. Everyone that works there is a musician or knows a musician or is in some way in the industry, so you know you're going to get music-friendly support. Bandzoogle plans start at just $8.29 a month and include your own free custom domain name right there in that price, so it's kind of all in one place for you, super convenient. Go to bandzoogle.com to try it free for 30 days. Be sure to use the promo code TMTS to get 15% off the first year of your subscription. That's promo code TMTS. All right, today we have Mike Johnston, drummer extraordinaire, teacher extraordinaire, and we dive into all sorts of cool stuff. Lots of funny stories, including your most embarrassing gig, your dream gig, all sorts of cool things like that. And of course, lots of valuable information from one of the best drum teachers in the game. Let's get into it. The first question I wanted to ask you was, how did you get started in music? What made you the guy you are today?
It's so funny. It definitely wasn't something that I chose at all. I saw Huey Lewis in the News video right when MTV got started, and I thought, okay, that saxophone cat, that dude's killing it. I want to do that. I asked my mom for a saxophone. She brought home a clarinet. I was super bummed, but I was like, cool. That's okay. Yeah, nowhere near as cool. I'm like, this isn't the gold one that the guy played in the video, but I'm still going to join school band.
That's awesome.
Did the school band thing, and then within the first week, every time we would have to play our whole notes, just the pushing air out of your mouth and lungs for a full measure of time caused me to pass out. So then the teacher was like, he's like, you're going to impale yourself on that clarinet reed. You got to go to the back and now you're a drummer. And that was it. I got pushed to the drums.
Oh, okay. I'm sure you're glad.
Nothing that I ever planned on. Oh my goodness. Can you imagine Mike's online clarinet lessons? No way.
Yeah.
No, I'm super glad.
That's hilarious.
Thanks, Mr. Baker.
Awesome. Perhaps the biggest kind of theme of today's interview is making a living as a modern musician. And I think we're going to be probably touching on that periodically throughout this entire interview. But if you could just kick that off, what does making a living as a musician in 2018 look like? How is that different from, when you got started in 2006?
Sure. I think the key to making a living, the first thing you have to do is decide, what does making a living mean to you? So figure out, what is that bracket, and how much money do you need per month to consider, okay, I'm making a living? My dad sat me down when I was 17. I was a senior in high school, and he just said, okay, what's going on? We don't have enough money to send you to college, and your grades sure as hell aren't good enough to get into college, or to get a scholarship. So you can join the military and have them pay for your college, or you can go to a community college, or, tell me what you want to do. And I said, Dad, I want to play drums. I think I can really do this. And by the way, guys, I was horrible at this time. Like, I was still fourth chair in high school. So there was no glimmer of hope that this might work out. It was just passion. So I said, Dad, I really want to play drums. It definitely helped me be a teacher, which we can touch on later for sure. But when I said that, he said, okay, well, if I'm going to go to bat for you for the next 2 or 3 years with grandma and grandpa and your uncles and your cousins and say, Michael's trying to be a drummer, then starting the day you graduate, you have 1 year from the day you graduate, and the drums have to pay for your everything. So his thought was, he just told me straight up, I don't care if you tech them, if you tune them, if you build them, if you sell them, gig on them, go into the studio, find a way that drums pay for your life within 12 months after graduating, and I'll keep the family off your back, and no one will ever bother you about being a musician. And so that was that.
Nice.
And so for me, what I had to do to answer your question, I had to decide, well, what does that mean? I thought, okay, 1-bedroom apartment, hopefully dual pane windows to keep out the riffraff noise. Honda Civic. I was like, man, that'd be dope to have like a 98 Civic. And then PLPD insurance, like just liability. You don't have to replace my car, but if I crash into somebody else, we'll take care of them. And then food. And so I just started thinking like, okay, well, at that time, if I had maybe 2 cover gigs a week, fantastic. That helps out. If I taught 10 students a week, great. That helps out. Then I work at my local drum shop. That helps out. And maybe I tech in a studio twice a month. And all of those things together made my living. And then I was able to pay for my life with drums. And even though I wasn't killing it in any of those areas, I was still getting by. And it's so different than now, where people are able to rake in income from online websites, from maybe affiliate codes, because they're selling products on Amazon. And then they're using the online landscape to get people to come to maybe their clinics or private lessons that they're doing, or master classes. So it's definitely a different world for sure.
Absolutely. And that kind of leads me to my next question. What kind of income streams is a musician in 2018 looking at? What are different ways they can make money aside from the couple ones you just mentioned?
Yeah, I think the one thing that we have now is, if you think about where we were maybe, say, 6 years ago, the studio musician was done for, because studios were done for. Everything was dead. You're never going to record music again. Everyone can do it in their bedroom. And then all of a sudden, because everyone could do it in their bedroom, and Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube gave us access to everyone recording in their bedroom, now those people that are recording guitar, bass, and vocals, they need drums on their track. And that drummer that's got a killer beat, he needs a guitar melody. So now people are able to reach out to each other and say, hey, I just recorded this full album and it's got, drum machine on it. Can you record the album from your house? And so I think actually this is probably one of the best times in the history of the world to be a studio musician, because anyone can do it and you don't have to rent out some massive live room to do it. Obviously, for most musicians, the bedroom thing has been no big deal for a long time as far as recording music in your room or in your basement. But for drums, we've always needed these massive live rooms. So it's been very cost prohibitive to us. But now with great plugins, I mean, I just recorded my EP with my band, and I used 2 mics total, one overhead and one kick. And we recorded into some nice Neve pre's, and we mixed it here, and no one complained about the sound. And so
and I've
you
heard
can kind of do anything
now. It sounds
now.
Great, by the way.
Oh, thanks so much. So that's one of the avenues. Obviously, what I'm doing, I think we're in a place now where everyone that has a voice on the instrument should be making educational content if that's in their soul. They shouldn't make it just to do it. But if they're saying to themselves on the instrument, man, like, I got to tell people about this. This is such a cool thing that I just figured out on the kit or on the guitar or on the piano. They should. It doesn't take much. I mean, you can make great educational content with an iPhone and an iRig, and you'd be fine. So I think that's another avenue. And then the biggest avenue right now, and I think this is obviously a little bit based off your location, but I'm just shocked at how much money some of my friends are pulling in doing cover gigs. That was what we used to make fun of when I was touring. It was like, cover band, that's where you get put out to pasture. What do you mean cover gigs? Like, I'm not going to play somebody else's music. I'm an artist. And then now I've got some good friends that are like, yeah, we make $2,500 a night. And I'm like, wait, what? Playing covers? And they're like, yeah, because and then you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. You're going to get up on stage and play songs that were written and recorded by the greatest musicians of all time. The crowd's probably going to dig it as long as you can handle your stuff.
Yeah, the music's there. Yeah.
But do you have any thoughts on tribute bands?
Man, I couldn't do it. I think, those are the guys that are raking in the big bucks, though. Yeah. But if somebody said, here is your Ringo Starr outfit, I'd be like, oh, yeah, you know what?
That's the same issue I had. I did an Alice in Chains tribute and a Journey tribute.
Okay.
And it was, I just couldn't do it anymore. It just got too much.
Yeah.
Couldn't put on the Neil Sean fro from the 70s anymore.
Totally. The closest I ever got to, and by the way, the Journey tribute, that thing just won't go away. Every town has their Journey tribute band.
Every town has
Zeppelin
6 of them.
And their Beatles.
Exactly.
But the closest I ever got was when I left the road, I moved to a new town called San Luis Obispo that I'd never been to before, and I was really just struggling to make it because I didn't have any students. I didn't have any income. And so I took a gig in a swing band called the Viper 6. And we had to actually wear like zoot suits and all that. It was like it was at the time where swing dancing was getting popular again in America. And that was the closest I ever got to doing a tribute thing. And I was like, oh my God, I can't do this. I'm not cut out for this. I need my jeans and my t-shirt and the same outfit I've been wearing since I was 11. And that's the reason I chose to play the drums, was so I could wear jeans and a t-shirt for the rest of my life. So, but like I said, if you're struggling, the other thing that can happen, and you probably experienced this in a Journey tribute band, a tribute band is so different than a cover band. You have to play the drum parts right. You have to tune your drums that drummer did. And that is almost like transcribing for a jazz musician. It's getting inside the head of what made those parts happen. So I would have loved, God, if I was going to be a studio cat, I definitely would have joined a Beatles tribute band to get in the head of Ringo Starr, because every time I've ever been in the studio, that's the adjective they use. They say, can you just give me like a Ringo fill? Which means that falling down the stairs, flat doom, doom, doom kind of thing. Well, I would love to have that instead of faking my way through it. I would love to be like, yeah, absolutely, because I've studied deeply so the way Ringo played, or Zeppelin, or whoever.
Right. And our drummer in the Journey tribute, we actually took it a step further. He had a full double bass kit refinished in bright red, like Steve Smith had back in the day. Did. And then we had a whole set change, and he had a full double bass kit, Pearl reference, in black that he did for the rest of it. So two full double bass. Like, it was ridiculous, man.
That's not real. You just made that up. I don't believe
I saw it with my own eyes.
Two drum risers, one 2 feet high. One, it was a whole thing, man. I was the guitarist, so I just had a few different guitars, and it was all good. But
yeah, that's. It's a funny thing though, and talking about that same thing where sometimes you have to, if we're trying to make a living, you gig outside of your passion. In Sacramento, where I live, Northern California, country is huge. So playing country gigs, I've got some of my best friends that are top tier jazz musicians, funk musicians, fusion guys, and they have their country gigs because, it pays $300 to $400 a night. So like, well, and they, and it's just really just pop music now. But so, yeah, you got to do what you have to do. The other thing is, one thing that's really screwed up the young musician, and by young musician, I definitely don't mean their age. I just mean how long they've been playing music. So you could be a 72-year-old young musician. But one thing that's really screwed up the young musician is the instant vibe of social media. Like, I guess if they stumble upon my page, they assume that I started playing yesterday. They're just like, oh, cool, he's just good. He just woke up and he took a drink of good drummer.
That's how you exist.
Exactly. They don't know. They have no history. And I'm like, oh, God, man, you missed out on all my wedding gigs. Yeah. You missed out on, man, I don't know if you ever saw this guy. There's a painter that was on America's Got Talent called David Garibaldi. And it just sticks out because he has the same name as the drummer from Tower of Power. But he's one of those like art painters where he's just splashing stuff all over the canvas, and then all of a sudden it looks like Einstein. Well, that was like one of those crap gigs where he would hire me and I would meet him at some church, and then he would just say to myself and a piano player, okay, 17 minutes from the time that I start, I will turn the canvas upside down and it will be Jesus Christ. Play something for that. Like, okay. And then after that, I'm going to start painting, and you have 20 minutes to take us from the first note of whatever you play to when I turn the canvas over, it'll be Ray Charles. But don't play any Ray Charles, because I don't want to give it away that I'm painting Ray Charles.
Right.
Those are the gigs that are like, what? Like, but that's what makes us real musicians. It's like, man, I've been through that stuff. And then you tour for a while, and then you tech for somebody else, and all those things that you're doing just to make a living as a musician, they add up to becoming what I would consider to be a professional musician. I definitely don't think that being a professional musician means that you're great at your instrument. I think it means that you've got this collection of life musical experiences that we all can sit in a room and be like, okay, let's talk crap gigs. And we all one up each other with our crap gigs. And then, okay, dream gig. And we all one up each other with our dream gigs. And that's, I don't know. I think those experiences, they just make you such a better musician, and they turn you into a professional.
That's a great point. What is your dream gig? I got to hear it.
Okay, so I've told my wife, when I made the decision to teach full-time and start Mike'sLessons.com and no more touring or anything, I told my wife, say no to everything that comes in, because she runs my schedule and handles everything. I said, say no to everything that comes in unless Phil Collins, Sting, or Jill Scott call. Those three, I'm out. I got to go. Everyone else, tell them no. I don't care if it's Janet Jackson. I don't care who it is. Justin Bieber, Justin Timberlake. Everyone gets a no except for Sting, Phil Collins, and Jill Scott. That's it.
Those are the ones.
So I would say out of all of those, it would be Uncle Phil. Yeah. If I could just be playing like Paper Laid or No Reply at All with Uncle Phil and have him turn around and give me that nod and be like, "Hey Phil, I got your back, brother." That would just be totally. I'd freak.
Do you have the crappest of crap gigs?
Dog. Do I? Man, come on. I mean, I think we've all had the same kind of crap gigs. So my crap gigs usually, they are tiered by how embarrassing it really was.
Yes.
And so yeah. So, I mean, I would say a crap gig that was just mild embarrassment would be playing on the back of a flatbed truck at a skate park in the middle of summer, and then at some point falling off the back of the flatbed truck right onto the cement.
Okay.
Those are those things where like you're rolling around like crispy bacon, like, oh God, am I hurt? Am I okay? My shirt's off and this sucks. And you know, like, okay, I'm not going home with any girls today because everyone just saw that and they're going to be talking about it. So by the third song, you're like, this gig is a wash because I have no chance with any chicks. This is over.
Right.
So then you just kind of get through it. So I would say probably most embarrassing gig moment. I mean, as far as crap gigs, I'll give you the topper. We were out on tour. We were out with Korn and Limp Bizkit at the time, and we had a day off, and we were told we were playing the Ozfest. So we're like, oh, cool. And for some reason, Limp Bizkit and Korn weren't on that. So it was like a day off, and we're going to go and we're going to do a fly gig. So we're flying in to Kansas and doing the Ozfest, just one off date. So our label books it. We're super excited about it. We fly into Kansas. Nice van picks us up at the airport. They're taking our band, and we roll into this field, and we're looking around, and the stage is looking a little small for Ozfest. And we're like, what the hell is going on? So we get out and we find the promoter, and we're like, are you sure this is Ozfest? And he's like, no, this is the Wizard of Ozfest. This is Kansas. and we just like
you should have gotten that in writing. You would have seen the onesie.
Dude, it was so Spinal Tap, right? And it was like, you got to be kidding me. And then, so we get up on this stage. We're playing with like a bunch of like just the worst bands you could ever imagine. There's like 19 kids out in a field.
Yep.
And I count the band in for the first song, and as soon as I hit my crash cymbal, my drum throne like collapses, and I'm just on the ground. And I'm like, dude.
Did you walk under a ladder or something on the way to that gig?
I swear, I was like, okay, that's it. I will say this, 3 weeks prior to that, we played the Playboy Mansion, so I might have used up all of my good luck for the year.
You left
That's
your good
what I'm
luck
thinking.
there, I think they stole it from you.
Yeah, so from the Playboy Mansion to the Wizard of Ozfest.
I don't even want to know what the Wizard of Ozfest is supposed to be. Like, if it goes perfectly,
Dude,
what is it supposed to be?
I have no idea, but it was not good, and we just couldn't wait to get back to Korn and Limp Bizkit. As sad as that is.
There you go. Yeah, okay, so that actually kind of brings me to my next point. What is some music people would be surprised to learn that you love?
Ooh. Okay, well,
I hate the term guilty pleasure, by the way. That's why I ask it that way. I don't believe in the term guilty pleasure at all.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely am a fan of pop in general because I like songs more than anything. I think that's why I struggled so hard growing up. I was growing up playing a lot of jazz, and I just wasn't identifying with it at all because I was missing out on the song structure. I didn't like the freedom of jazz. I would always find myself listening to old Coltrane, old Miles, because there was more of a pop song structure there. Mm-hmm. You know, when you listen to Coltrane and My Favorite Things, that's a pop tune to me. I mean, I can sing that all day long. But then when I would get into the more heavy stuff, I was like, man, I just can't. I get distracted too quick. I can't follow it. So pop is definitely something that I love. Like when people try to joke with me like, man, I'd love to see you play some Taylor Swift. I'm like, tell me which album. I got them all down. And they're like, oh, you're serious? I'm like, I'm very serious. I'll go from Alanis Morissette to today. I remember being out on tour when we were doing stuff like out with Deftones and Slipknot and stuff, and I would be listening to either Sting or the new Alanis Morissette at the time or whatever, and just faking to my band, you know, banging my head with my headphones on like I was listening to Mudvayne or
Gotta keep
Mushroom Head. Yeah, totally. I didn't want to let them know. I'm like, I didn't want to start shouting. Isn't ironic?
Feel about it.
Yeah, it's all the same 12 notes.
Yeah,
I always say.
Exactly. And I think that's it. It just, I just like music. I would say the thing that would be surprising would probably be, I have a deep love for Brazilian music. And
okay.
That is surprising.
And even though it's in Portuguese, the stuff I listen to, I just can I really enjoy listening to it. That's probably on a world music level, that's probably the stuff that I enjoy the most. But really, if I'm not on a drum set, it's pretty rare that I'm listening to music. It's almost always astronomy podcasts or astrophysics podcasts.
Okay.
That's like almost
nice. So you're a big
all I listen
Tyson
to
fan,
because
I assume.
Neil deGrasse Tyson and Brian Cox and the whole crew of the people that are actually getting some recognition now for being physicists and being
I've noticed that
astronomers, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. So while we're talking about favorites, what's some of your favorite new music like in the past 2 years? I think too many people talk about you know, the glory days, the classics. What's some new music?
Well, yeah. You know what's crazy is I noticed that recently that it's hard for new music to mean what it meant to you at a time when music was getting you through life's problems.
Right.
Because when you're a teenager and when you're in your 20s, everything is the most important thing that's ever happened in the history of the world.
Right.
And music is the only thing that gets you through. And especially for us that are of like in my age group, you know, I didn't have a TV in my room when I was a kid. I definitely there were no smartphones. So my only thing that I could latch on to was music. So I remember listening to whether it be Living Colour or Faith No More or whatever, that was getting me through the times. I would say as far as stuff that I'm listening to now, anything by Wolfpack, I just think they're amazing and funky and killer. I'm kind of going through my music right now. There's a album by Robert Glasper called Covered that I love. Really cool stuff. And what else am I got here? Always listening to Hiatus Coyote. And pretty much, let's put it this way. If it's been on the radio lately, that's not what I'm listening to.
Right.
Except for now, if we want to use the term guilty pleasure, I will tell you that the album Revival by Selena Gomez, just wipe it out of your head that her name is Selena Gomez and that she dates Justin Bieber. That album is fucking badass. Like that, whoever wrote that stuff, I'm not calling Selena out. I don't know her. Maybe she did write it, but whoever wrote it is definitely, one of the big kids on the block, because it's a great album. So Revival by Selena Gomez. And then, I think that's kind of the stuff I'm into right now.
So when you, or let me rephrase, when you would suggest someone listen to something to kind of broaden their drumming horizon specifically, what would you suggest they listen to?
Ooh, great call. I would say a couple things. One would definitely be, there's an album by John Scofield called Up All Night. And do you guys know the band Lettuce?
I do not. I know Scofield. I don't know Lettuce.
Okay, so Lettuce is just a funky band. Anyways, and they're on the same label as Soul Live and stuff. Well, anyways, Scofield hired Lettuce's drummer when he was 17 to do this thing. And so Sco is not playing like Scofield at all in this album. It's almost drum and bassy. It's a very cool album, very detached from his norm. And there's so many different drumming styles in there that Adam's playing. So I would definitely say Up All Night by by John Scofield. And then, man, I think being able to study, if that's like the busier side of drumming, being able to study just Steve Jordan with John Mayer is brilliant. So anything that he does, just listening to the way he plays for the song, listening to how he creates hooks, he'll make hooks out of things that you really wouldn't expect. It might just be every fourth bar, there's just a slightly looser hi-hat on the end of 4. It's not open, but it's not as closed as it was. And it goes by everyone's head, but they don't really know. You watch people listen to the music. That's one thing you can get out of, if you want to learn how to be a great musician, watch non-musicians listen to music, but physically, like actually watch them and watch their body move and go, oh, wow, okay, that person feels the hi-hat on this song as the primary pulse. Okay, cool. Now I know how to make people dance, because I'm always concerned with what drummers want to hear from me. There's only 3 drummers in the crowd, so why don't I worry about the non-drummer? So, you can watch, if you go to a John Mayer concert, I wouldn't say everyone's not a drummer, but most of the people aren't drummers. You can just watch them move to Steve Jordan's grooves and just go, oh, wow. As a drummer, I hear everything, but these non-drummers are only hearing this specific part of the groove. So now I know when I play that type of song, I can emphasize that on my own.
Smart.
Yeah, that's great. So coming up, we kind of talked about that a few minutes ago. What led you to starting Mike's Lessons?
I think it was just luck and timing, really. I mean, I definitely knew around 2005, that's when I quit touring. I'd been on the road for about 6 years, and I quit touring. I quit my band, and we still had another album left on our deal, but I quit just because I knew that the idea of teaching felt like heaven to me, and the idea of touring for another month felt like hell. So I knew that I wanted to do that for the rest of my life. So I went home, started teaching at a local music store. And while doing that, then there was just this whole revolution in the internet world happening. iTunes had started, and all of a sudden people were able to get a song instead of an album. That had never happened before. For 99 cents, you can get a song. And I got to preview the songs. So I got to finally go, yeah, that album sucks. I'm not spending $17 at Tower Records for that album, sight unseen. And so that was happening. And at the same time, I started filming myself and uploading it to this thing called YouTube. And YouTube to me was what we would consider now to be Dropbox. It was a place that I could store videos for free. And I didn't think anybody would ever watch them. I just wanted to store them for my students to watch later. So maybe at the end of a lesson, I'd say, hey, real quick, I'm going to film what you're supposed to do, and I'll just put it on this thing called YouTube, and I'll give you a link to it in your email. And that way, if you get home and the sheet music doesn't make sense, now you can just go watch this video and be reminded. And all of a sudden, those videos started blowing up. And at the time, all we had was DCI and Hudson Music and Hal Leonard putting out these drum DVDs that were like $45. Yeah. And so I just thought, like, man, why do I spend $45 on this World Rhythms DVD when all I really need to learn is a Brazilian samba to get me through my wedding gig tomorrow? And so it just kind of all clicked. I thought, okay, iTunes has shown us, it's training the world around me that people will pay 99 cents for a chunk of art or information. And then with YouTube, I was noticing, well, I've got this following, if I've got 100,000 people, if I could just get 10% of that to follow me over here, that'd be great. And so I just kind of thought, okay, I'm going to make iTunes for drummers and for drum lessons. And that was what started it. And it was a scary, scary thing, because there was, I can't even tell you what it was like trying to get a web developer to get on board with something like that, because there was no precedence for it. They're like, wait, you want me to build iTunes? I'm like, no, not really. Just a smaller version. And I mean, I was getting quotes from people like, okay, I could do that for $35,000. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I think I told you, did I tell you it was a drum website? That means I'm broke. I don't have any money. So yeah, it took a while. So instead, what I ended up doing was I just learned how to do everything myself.
Smart.
I started enrolling in online classes and taking every class I could on HTML. Actually, at the time, I was coding in ActionScript, which was Flash, because everybody had Flash websites. I had to learn graphic design, video editing, video software, audio engineering. And I just thought, okay, well, that's how I can save money, is I'll learn how to do all of this all myself. And one thing that I got from Steve Jobs, he has like the greatest quote in the world. And I won't say the whole thing because it's too long, but pretty much he says, once you realize that everything in the world around you is created by someone no smarter than you, you'll never be the same. And I realized that my web developer was, or any web developer was just me if I would have went to web development school. And my graphic designer friends were just me if I would have went to graphic designer school. Well, the one thing I know for a fact is I'll never be as talented as any of the drummers that I look up to, but I'm 100% sure that I can work harder than anyone in the world. Like, you will sleep at some point and I just won't. I will stay up all night till 3 a.m. and I will learn how to do web development or whatever it is that I need to make my dreams come true.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that people similar to you all have in common. So I think there can't be enough said about that.
And that thing, it's weird. Like when people say, you know, oh, it's so much work, or you work so hard. And, you know, we've all, especially as professional musicians, we've all been kind of told to stop trying so hard by people around us that are lazier than us, that maybe are threatened by our work ethic.
Absolutely.
But it's like, it's not work because I like it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm sorry. You know, the one thing that I hope that all people that are thinking about becoming a musician or an artist of any time or of any kind, one thing I would like them to think about is think about yourself in a cubicle, or think about yourself doing manual labor. Both are extremely valid, and I have family members that do both. But does that feel like someone else's life, or does that feel like your life? When I think of myself in a cubicle, it literally feels like a movie. It's like, no, not me. But it felt like that. It even felt like that when I was 14. I knew I don't know what I'm going to do with my life, but I sure as hell am not doing that shit.
Yeah, that was actually one of my biggest fears too, is the cubicle.
Yeah, it's like I just know, and there's nothing wrong with it. I just know it's not me. Right. There's other people I know that kill it in a cubicle because they don't care. They're not passionate at all. So they go do the cubicle job, and then they come home and they're massively passionate about their family and their outside of work activities. And so everything is valid as long as it fits in with your passion. And so when it came to making Mike'sLessons.com, I just felt like I so lucked out that I was one of the first drum teachers on this new thing called YouTube. So I got an instant following. There weren't billions of people using it, so I was able to cut my teeth on YouTube and be pretty bad at speaking to a camera. And there was only 46 people that saw the video to make fun of it. And trust me, back early days of YouTube, that was when if you sucked, you got death threats. Like, you're the worst teacher ever. I hope you die. And if you don't, maybe I'll make it happen.
I do vaguely remember
holy crap. It's like, whoa. And then, like, if you block them, they were like, whatever. Tom Drummer 82 just deletes his account and makes a new one. Now he's DW Drummer 74. And he comes back at you and he's like, hey, dickhead, it's me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you won't go away.
Nothing better to do, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Very different world now.
So speaking of the internet thing, what internet business and marketing tips would you have specifically for musicians?
The one that is probably the most key to everyone is that the single biggest commodity in the online world right now is trust. If you have trust, you have all the cards. And there's only one way to get trust, and that's by being trustworthy. So as soon as those followers sniff you out and know that you're trying to peddle some bullshit on them, it's over. You just lost everything. There are so many even little products that I actually believe in, but they approach me for endorsements. And I'm like, I'm sorry, like, I can't allow the bottom of my clinic flyer to look like a NASCAR outfit. Like, I can't have 40 sponsorships. Right. I've got my drums, my cymbals, my sticks, and my heads, and everything else, I'll let the world know if I believe in it. So, but the thing is, you know, let's say I have no idea how many actual followers I have on Instagram, but let's say I have 100,000 followers. If I tell them, yo, the shimmy shim practice pad is the hot sauce, you got to get that, and then it's not, I will never be able to tell them to come to my clinic, to come to my drum festival, to check out this cymbal that I'm playing, because I will lose their trust. So trust right now, whatever you're going to do, if you're starting out in social media and you're trying to build a name for yourself, don't get scared and try to just do whatever you think they want. Be you. Being an original is so valued in today's landscape.
Yeah, and probably easier.
Oh my gosh, it's way easier. Like that. Who can be more you than you?
Right.
Nobody.
Nobody's going to be better at being you than you.
Yep.
Good
Exactly.
advice.
That reminds me of, we heard every so often in the Journey tribute, we'd hear like, you guys are playing to tracks or blah, blah, blah. I'm like, do you realize how difficult it would be to just play to a track instead of actually just play it? Like, that would be so much harder. Like,
That would be way harder.
yeah,
Absolutely.
There's no way we could do that.
No, and that's the thing, is like just being you and being 100% authentic, that always resonates with people. So yeah, I think that's one of the big keys. The other thing is don't freak out. If you're going to sell any content, if you're at the point where you're thinking about selling educational content or drumless tracks or whatever you're making, don't get scared by low sales and pull the ripcord by having a sale or 2 for 1 or sign up now and you get 6 years free. As soon as you do that, that is the death to your business. You've just trained everybody that when sales are down, you'll get scared and you'll offer a deal. So why would I ever pay full price?
Yeah.
It shows me that you don't even value the content that you put up on your website, because you're selling it. You're selling me 2 hours of educational content for $3. How good can it be?
Right. Exactly. You don't value what you don't pay for.
Yeah. Believe in yourself, and then other people will believe in it too,
Sure. So let's shift a little bit to actual playing, talk about playing and stuff. What's the most common mistake you see drummers make?
Easy, because I'm super guilty of it myself. Playing for other drummers. That's it.
Yeah.
You as a guitar player, you probably know what it's like when your drummer sees his favorite drummer walk in the room. Everything changes. There's fills on every fourth bar, and the timing goes out the window. Everything that was musical and beautiful is lost, and now it's a drum clinic. So, and as someone whose primary job besides teaching online is doing drum clinics, where I actually do have to play for a room full of drummers, it's such a battle to stay musical and to treat the instrument with respect to what its purpose is, instead of just blowing chops the whole time, going like, oh, please like me, please like my playing. So I think the biggest mistake would probably be just playing for drummers instead of playing for the music, keeping your ears open, having big ears and listening to the things around you, and realizing that honestly, no one cares about your little ghost notes and your open hi-hat diddle flip a chiddles. Like the general public doesn't even know that stuff's happening. Their ears aren't even tuned in enough to know that stuff's happening. They can only feel your primary notes of your kick and snare. So just, that. And the other thing too is some consistency. If you change what you're doing every bar, what bass player can even 100%. Join in with you?
Yeah.
It's like, hey,
and
I'll just wait till you nail one of those things down. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's like homework.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, if you want to, that's why Steve Jordan's so brilliant, is he's a 2-bar phrase kind of guy. So he'll have this groove that is just cemented in, but it'll always have a slight variation on the second bar, which extends the phrasing. So it's not a 1-bar loop, but 2 bars is just getting to the point that the average non-musician can't memorize the whole thing. So it has this feeling of freedom to it, but you still know as a human being, this is very repetitive. I can count on it. These things are always in the right place, but there might be just an extra ghost note on the second bar, or an extra open hi-hat, or an extra kick that just gives it this little bit of life, so it doesn't sound like a loop.
Yeah, a little nuance.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and on the flip side of that, the most common mistake teachers may make, you've probably seen some videos that maybe you're like, I don't know.
Oh, bro, you don't have to be polite. I see videos where I literally throw the computer out the window. The thing that really sucks is when it's one of my own videos from like 4 years ago, and I'm like, what a fucking idiot. Why didn't I do my research? Why have I not deleted this off YouTube? That happens. But no, I would say the biggest, or the most common mistake is when natural musicians try to teach, because anyone that's natural has no idea what the struggle of this instrument is actually like.
Right.
So when they teach something, they say, all right, I'm going to teach you this inverted paradiddle groove. They play it at lightning speed and they go, all right, if you need anything else, just let me know. It's like, what? I have no idea what the hell just happened.
Right.
So that's the one thing that I think has allowed me to have success in this industry, is the fact that this is the hardest instrument I could have ever picked, and every single note has been a massive struggle for me. So when I'm teaching it, that's in my head, and I'm thinking, well, first I hit this hand on this drum, and then I hit this one. And it's like I walk people through it.
Right.
I see a lot of people teach step A, and then they jump to step Z, and there's nothing in between.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, like, okay, two things. Either you're lying and there's no way you learned it that fast yourself, or you actually learned it that fast and you don't know that the rest of the world can't learn it that way. You don't know that you're a freak, a beautiful freak, you know?
Yeah.
'Cause I mean, obviously I've been doing paid online lessons or charging for online lessons since 2008, I think, is when Mike's Lessons officially became a business, maybe 2007. But so obviously I've been very cognizant of every single online drum instructor that has come up since that day, because I keep an eye out on that stuff. And in the early days, I used to freak out when some of like the drumming masters were like, oh, I'm going to take a stab at online lessons. I'm like, oh, okay, here goes my career. It's over. Like, that guy's a drumming god, or that girl's a drumming goddess. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, this is awesome. You're so good at the drums, you can't teach for shit.
Right.
Like, this is great.
Goes to show
So I was like, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah, totally.
there's a way to get it across to people, and then there's a way to show people. You know, there's like, you know, you can just play it, or you can explain it to people. So there's different talents.
And
there.
there's empathy from the teacher
Right.
to the camera, saying like, hey, I know.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
this sucks,
Yeah.
man. This took me 2 years. I know what you're about to go through. I'm on your side. I've got your back. The opposite of that is, good luck. I can do it. I don't really give a crap if you can.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, and people can feel that through the camera. I mean, that's the one thing that I have just totally tried to hone in on since the first YouTube video I ever made, is letting the people see in my face, like, I'm on your side. I don't want to be the best drummer in the world. I want you to be the best drummer in the world. I honestly, yes, I do want to have some legacy in the teaching world 30 years from now. I will freely admit that, but I have no desire to have any legacy in the drum world. I want to be an educator. I want you to be the drummer. And I try to make sure that that's coming across just vibe wise. Like, I'm on your side. I'm not hiding anything from you. I'll tell you every secret I know.
Yeah.
Super helpful.
So, how do you stay creative on the kit when you're drumming? I mean, after drumming all these years, how do you keep it fresh and new and exciting?
That's probably one of the benefits of social media, is that, God, I can just type drum into Instagram and find a 7-year-old that's blazing stuff that I can't even comprehend. Obviously, I'm sure you guys go through it too as musicians. That can be a little bit depressing, because you just realize, like, God, I've done this my whole life, and there's these random people I've never heard of that can outplay anyone. But I don't follow a ton of drummers. I follow drummers that inspire me instead of impress me. So I watch other drummers. That's how I get some creative stuff. The one thing I would say, as far as a practical application of creativity, is a lot of times, let's say I'm watching Dave Weckl. He's been one of my favorites since I was a kid. If I see something that he does that I love, the one thing I never do is I don't transcribe it. I just try to remember the gist of it, and I run to the kit without watching it again. So it's just like, oh, what was that thing? It was kind of this, kind of that. And so Dave Weckl becomes my launch board or launch ramp. And once I'm up in the air, it's my turn to like do my tricks, but he just gets me up in the air so I can start to do my tricks. Yeah. And so a lot of times I'll just watch a drum video of somebody, and then I take the idea that I got, just the general vibe, and I take that to the kit, and then I'm on a practice spree for an hour. But I also am feeling good about it because I'm not plagiarizing Dave Weckl or whoever I'm watching. Yeah. I'm just kind of taking the ism to the kit.
Yeah, and you're not stressed out about nailing it perfectly or anything like that. You're literally just trying to capture what made you get excited about it, whatever it was, and then you interpret it your own way, and then it's yours.
It would be like me right now, since I've literally never played guitar in my life. If somebody said sweeps, it's like, I know what they are when you do them, but I have no idea what that is. But I would love to mess around with a guitar for 6 hours until I came up with something that was inspired by the term sweeps. Yeah. Because it wouldn't be a sweep, but it would be something. Right. And I'd be like, hey, I made this up and I feel good about it because I didn't steal it from Satriani or whoever.
Right, exactly. So what do your practice routines look like, on average?
Yeah, so probably about 2.5 years ago, I started making an actual system so that I could hand it off. I had to make a system that would work for me. And then if it worked for me, I could hand it off to students, because that seemed to be the biggest question I got from my students was, hey, you have more than enough material for me to practice. How do I practice it? So I broke everything into 4 categories. So the first thing I do when I get on the kit is what I call stage 1 non-creative. It's always 10 minutes minimum. And so a non-creative thing for you guys would be scales. For me, maybe it's just playing single strokes around the kit, but it's something that's non-creative. It doesn't involve my brain at all, but I'm trying to physically get better at the instrument. So faster, tighter, more control over my dynamics. So it's the physicality of playing my instrument. And sometimes it's speed, sometimes it's just how quiet could I play this if I had to play a dinner party tomorrow night. But the main thing is there's no creativity to it whatsoever. It's very repetitive. So I'll do that for 10 minutes. Then I go into stage 2, which is my creative stage, and I'll spend a minimum of 10 minutes being creative. So I'll take some sort of motif and be creative around it. So maybe it's jazz samba with my right hand and my feet, and then my left hand spends 10 minutes being creative around the drum set while that 3-voice ostinato is going on. Or maybe it's something as simple as just trading fills. 1 measure of groove, 1 measure of improvisation, 2 measures of groove, 2 measures of improvisation. But I'm trying to activate my mind to be creative, so I'm not always playing stuff off of PDF or out of a book. And then stage 3 is 25 minutes minimum. And it is my main focus. So that is where I'm learning something new that I can't do, something I wish I could do, but I can't. And then that always is with a timer, and that always lasts 25 minutes. And then I can multiply that as many times as I want, because neuroscience shows us that the brain can only handle new information and learning something new for about 25 minutes before it starts to go backwards on us. So every 25 minutes, I take a break. And if I have 2 hours to practice, I'll just do that stage multiple times in a row with taking 10-minute breaks in between. And that also breaks up the need for me to feel that itch to check social media, or maybe I'm missing out on the world going on around me. Every 25 minutes, I can scroll through my feed for a few minutes and then get back to practicing.
Yeah. Little brain nap.
Right.
Oh, and I mentioned stage 4 or 4 stages, but the 4th stage is after I do all of that. At a minimum, I play along to 2 songs, maybe from my past or maybe something new. It doesn't matter. But at the end of every practice session, I'm reminding myself, okay, that was a lot of notes. You were blazing some chops there. Do you still know how to do this for real? And so, I'll put on some, neo soul from Jill Scott and play very simple.
Right. Just sit in the pocket, right?
And it's like, cool. Okay. Now I still remember why I'm doing it. So I call that my practical application stage.
That's really helpful. Yeah.
Do you have any tips for people that struggle to work in odd meters?
Absolutely. The key to odd meters is realizing that you don't transpose what you're playing into a new time signature whatsoever. Because if you grow up in school music, it's so confusing when they tell you the explanation of a time signature confuses the hell out of you, because they always say the top number is how many beats there are in a measure, and the bottom number is what type of beat gets the count.
Right.
Which, even saying that out loud, I barely got through it because I don't know what the fuck that means. Excuse my language. But it's still so frustrating to me. I'm like, I don't know what that means. So when that was happening in school band, they were constantly saying, okay, now your 16th notes, now in 7/8, your 16th notes are 32nd notes in there. And I was like, what? So do you give me a new piece of paper? And they're like, no, we still write them like this, but you have to think of them like this. And I was like, that can't be right. So here's the deal. The top number is how high to count. The bottom number is how fast to count. Play what you were going to play anyways. So if I was playing this groove right here, and somebody said, okay, play that in 7/8. Well, you told me 7/8. So top number is 7. I'm going to count up to 7, and I'm going to count up to 7 at the speed of eighth notes, which are and 2 and 3 and okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2. You just start over at the 1, but play what you were already playing. Don't try to figure out, well, how is this possible in 7/8? 7/8 means you lost 1/8 note or 2 16th notes or 4 32nd notes. You still play everything. The way I would describe it to somebody that doesn't play music is, if you are leaving your home, whatever the first stop sign in your neighborhood is, what if they moved that stop sign 4 feet closer to your house? How would you possibly drive? It's like, you hit the freaking brakes earlier. That's it. Just stop earlier. Nothing's changed. You don't have to get a new car to drive to that stop sign. They just moved the stop sign earlier. So stop earlier. The other thing that helps is learning how to count out loud. Being able to count, maybe I'm playing this groove. Can you count to 7/8 and not restart the groove? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3. Can you go over the bar line? So practicing things like that help as well. Man, you guys got me fired up.
Great advice. I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
Yeah, definitely.
So while we're still in the weeds, what are some drum recording tips you have for drummers? Recording drums is probably, I don't think anyone would argue that's the hardest thing to record out of a standard rock band.
Absolutely. Softer is louder when it comes to microphones. When you bash on the drums, the mics don't pick it up at all. You squash the hell out of the recording. So if you saw... before we got on the air, you mentioned seeing Matt Halpern do his Creative Live thing and stuff. And if you saw Matt actually track, it's nothing like Matt playing at a show, or even making a video of him pretending like he's tracking. The real tracking, when you're playing, if you want the cymbals to open up and you want the drums to open up, hit them softer than you think you need to, and the microphones will love you. And it gives the engineer so much more to work with than this squashed, choked sound. So that would probably be one thing. Another thing is what we talked about when playing with a bass player: repetition. Learn how to play the same thing over and over again without, and sink into it without your mind wandering. And then my biggest piece of advice to drummers is learn the vibe of every band in the world, because that's how engineers will speak to you. They're not drummers. They have no idea how to tell you, like, hey, if you could give me an implied metric modulated polyrhythmic beat displaced. They don't know how to do that. They're never going to talk like that. What they're going to say is like, hey, coming out of this verse, I want to go into like a old school Prince vibe. So you need to know the hell that means, and that you need to know that an old school Prince vibe is not Tower of Power. Because like if somebody says, hey, give me like a funky thing on the hi-hat, I immediately ask, you mean like P-Funk or like Tower of Power? Oh, I'm sorry, like Tower of Power. Oh, you mean highly syncopated. Okay, cool, I gotcha. But they're never going to say, give me a highly syncopated hi-hat groove with an open on the and a 3. Yeah. So they're gonna talk based off of the bands that they know. Just like we said earlier about being in the studio and them saying, yeah, just give me like a Ringo fill. Yeah. They don't know how to notate. Well, maybe some of them do, but they're not going to spend the time notating the fill. When they say Ringo fill, I just go flat doom, doom, da doom. Got it. Cool. We're good. Or give me like a Bonham vibe. Cool. Got it. I know what you mean, because I listened to Zeppelin and all that stuff. So I think that being well-rounded in your listening will totally help you. When somebody says, yeah, give me that, the Motown intro. 1, 2, bum, braka-doom, scat. It's like, cool. We can communicate because of this shared vernacular.
Right. And if you don't listen to lots of different types of drumming styles and stuff like that, you'd be a little bit, well, not a little bit, but you'd be embarrassed for sure.
Embarrassed. And even when it comes to drums, if somebody says, yeah, it's kind of like a Trisha Yearwood thing, I'm probably not going to bring my 311 snare and some 12-inch hi-hats. It's like, cool, I know what country music is. I got you. Like, I know what gear to bring. I will be prepared for this, and that'll make the engineer's job a lot easier, which gives that person, more of a chance to hire me in the future.
Right. So speaking on endorsements, I know you have some great endorsements. How would you suggest other musicians go about getting endorsements? Obviously, when the time is right.
when the time. Yeah, I think the best thing you can do is go to NAMM and then blaze a solo right in front of the A&R. They love that.
That's easy to do too.
Yeah, absolutely. And same for you guitarists out there. Just walk over to the Marshall booth, crank 1 to 10, and rip.
They love
They
that.
will sign you on the. They just actually give you all the gear. They say, just take that home. You're amazing.
Yeah,
Bring a van with you. You're going to need it.
Yeah, I mean, actually, it would be the exact opposite of that joke tip,
Yeah.
which would be, don't go to NAMM. Hell, don't even go until you need to go. I skipped it this year because I had no products coming out that had my name on it. I had nothing personal going on at NAMM. I wasn't speaking at any events. So I was like, I don't need to be there. Like, I'm one more person clogging that thing up.
Yeah.
So I just didn't go. So the key to endorsements is the gumball test. When you think about yourself playing live, grab a handful of gumballs, throw it at the crowd. How many drummers did you just hit? If the number is 0, no one's going to endorse you. You have no chance of selling more of the product that they're giving to you at a discounted rate or a free rate. If you go to let's say you go to a Taylor Swift concert, 20,000 people, throw your gumballs, you hit 0 drummers. Go to a drum clinic where there's 90 people in the crowd, throw that same handful of gumballs, and all you hit is drummers. Well, the dude that's playing a drum clinic or the lady that's playing a drum clinic to 90 people is probably a more worthwhile endorsee than Taylor Swift's drummer.
Right.
Which, by the way, I don't know who he is or she is, but I'm sure they're rad and they're super worthwhile. But there's different ways to be valuable to the company. I mean, that's the big thing. Like, don't think that you being amazing on your instrument is how you get endorsed. Everyone's amazing. We talked about on Instagram, I can find a 7-year-old that's far superior to me. So being amazing is not what they're looking for. They're obviously a business. So they're thinking, all right, I'm going to give you 1 snare drum head. How do we sell 10 by me giving you 1? And if you have a dedicated following that can help you do that, then you're going to be a worthwhile endorsee. There are a lot of companies now too, though, that are seeing things differently, and they're building a team, meaning that they're definitely taking your personality into consideration. They want good representatives of their company. They want good human beings on their roster that will support and get along with the other human beings on their roster. So by being a good person, by being supportive of other musicians, by always being positive, and by not expecting free gear because you can rip some chop, that's going to help a lot. If I was going to approach a company right now from scratch, the first thing I would tell them in the letter is, hey, I'm not a hook me up kind of guy. I'm not looking for free gear. I just wanted to be a part of your family. I've been playing your product for a long time. Whether I get an endorsement through you or not, I'm going to continue to play your product because I believe in it. But it would be a dream for me to be associated with your company because of how much I believe in your product. That's a great way to start, rather than like, by the way, I'm kind of killing it, so you should check me out.
Right. You don't have your hand out. Right.
How many emails do they get like that?
Oh, all of them. And I mean,
And none of
they
them are
are the... No. And they are the old school record A&Rs of today, meaning, those are old school record A&Rs got 6,000 CDs of crap, and they'd listen to 8 to 10 seconds of each one, throw it right in the bin, and then 1 or 2 made it through. And honestly, when we got signed, or when my first band got a record deal, we thought it was the same way, like, oh, send in your CD. And our manager was like, are you kidding? We're not sending in a CD. We're going to go sit in his office and make sure he listens to it. It's like, sending in your CD, he's never going to listen to it. But he's like, but luckily we had a manager that had some pull and was able to get us in the offices and listen. So that type of stuff, is the way it is right now in musical endorsements, which is, 1, be very nice to everybody, because at some point you might want to ask somebody like, hey, is there any way you could put in a word for me? But make sure that you're ready for it, that what's going on in your career deserves that. And then understand too, every roster, it doesn't matter whether it's for guitar, bass, or drums, or any instrument, they have tiers of endorsements. So don't expect free gear. There's a small percentage of artists that get free gear, and there's a large percentage of artists that get discounts on the gear. And all you're asking for from your companies, and all I've ever asked for, is whatever's going on in my career, I expect my endorsement to reflect that. So if my career is exploding and I'm on the covers of magazines and stuff, I do expect free gear. if for some reason my world goes backwards and I'm teaching 10 students in my hometown and that's my entire drumming career, then I expect to get, 25% off on drum heads. And I'm totally cool with that because I'm clearly not doing anything for your company anymore.
Sure. So I think generally speaking, musicians, artists are not as good at business and vice versa. So what would your top business tip, I guess, be for musicians in 2018?
Man. Yeah, especially in 2018. I mean, if you say, oh, you should go to business school, it's like the stuff they're teaching is from 2014 and it's already completely outdated. So I wouldn't do that at all. What I would do is I would totally obsess on yourself as a consumer. So today I got an email and it was definitely salesy, but I like the title made me open it for some reason. And then the email looked really good and they were advertising kind of something that I really want. And I clicked on it and then I was on Amazon and I ordered it. So as soon as I hit that order now, then I go and reverse that whole process and I study it. What the F just happened? Because I want to do this in business to other people. I want to offer them something that they're like, I really want that. And then I take them all the way through the checkout process. So you're the consumer. Figure out what attracts you. Watch Instagram and figure out, why did you follow that person? There's going to be this group of people you follow just because you think you should. Like, oh, I'm a guitarist, so I got to follow, this person. And then there's going to be some people that it's like, no one brought this person to your attention. It happened naturally and you followed them. What do you like about their content? Try to get that vibe going for yourself and try to just take everything that you're experiencing as a consumer right now and figure out like your own personal set of do's and don'ts.
Right.
I'll never do the sham wow thing because it drives me nuts when people are like, and if you buy now, it's like, oh God, I just threw up in my mouth. Like no car sales. So it's like, but clearly the person that's doing online drum lessons that says, and if you buy now, we'll send you 46 DVDs. Whoever that person is doesn't mind it when they see that on TV. So it's like, there's nothing wrong with doing it. It's just not my vibe. And I think that that's what you do is you collect this little selection of do's and don'ts for marketing based off of how you like to be marketed to yourself.
Yeah, that's really smart. Yeah.
You guys make me feel good. I'm just going to call you every time I'm having a down day. I'm going to just start yelling like I've been doing this whole interview. And then you can be like, that was really smart, Mike.
That was really smart, Mike, man.
I feel really inspired by all that, actually. Like, it really does make me think. Like, there are lots of things that I catch myself, like, seeing just on the corner of my eye. And the next thing I know, I'm buying it. And I should really study that.
You should totally study the color combinations they use, study where the buy now button was. I remember I have a really good friend that's been quite a business mentor to me over the last couple of years. And we launched our website, a new version of Mike'sLessons.com. And there was this thing where we were offering an all access pass and our members had the opportunity to stay where they were at $19.99 a month, and they only had limited access to the website, or they could upgrade to our new all access pass for $29.99. Well, I launched the website and it's live and it's working fine. And he calls me immediately. He's like, take the website down. Just put up like a "we'll be back in a moment" page. I'm like, whoa, what's going on? And he's like, you have the upgrade button on the left. No one upgrades on the left. They only upgrade on the right. Point. And he's like, you have upgrade in gray and stay where I was in gold. No one upgrades in gray. It's a cloud. You upgrade in gold.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the? Oh my God. Yeah. Take the whole website down. But things like that, it's like, start paying attention to those things.
Yeah.
It's really, really important.
So the last thing I want to ask you is, we were talking a little bit before we went live about starting today versus starting in, say, 2006 when you were first getting on YouTube. What has changed, and what would you tell someone to not do versus what to do?
Totally. Well, the one thing that has changed more than anything would be, at least unexpectedly, would be just the number of humans that now it's become so hard to stand out. How on earth are you going to become an online drum teacher, an online guitar teacher in today's YouTube? Like, good luck. There's
saturated.
60,000 of them. It's so saturated. So everything that changed that we knew would change because of Moore's law is like, yes, the cameras are better and everyone's in 4K and everyone can somehow just magically speak to a camera and they have good sound. So we knew that we would go there because that's just the natural course of events. But how many people there are and how flooded it is, that's definitely something that's different. So when I started on YouTube, all I had to do was make drum lessons and make them decent. And I was one of 2 or 3 people doing it. So it was easy to stand out. Now it's going to be a little bit more difficult to stand out. So let's do 2 things. We're going to try to figure out how to become an educator on YouTube, and we're going to try to figure out how to become a musician on Instagram. 2 very different approaches. So if I want to become an educator on YouTube, the first thing is going to be original content that is highly, highly searched for. You need to understand what's happening in the algorithms of Google and YouTube to ever have a chance of standing out. And so one thing that you can do that'll get Google to start valuing you and to get YouTube to start valuing you is be at the top of some search results for something. So if the title of my lesson is Drum Lesson by Mike Johnston, I'm going into a pool of 60 million drum lessons. There's even right now, I'm still not even going to be on the first couple pages. But if I say something that a drummer would search for, but probably doesn't have a lot of competition, Mozambique Variations. So the title would be Mozambique Variations, then Drum Lesson by Mike Johnston. And then all of my keywords and all my meta tags would all reflect that. Now I probably will come up first on that page and I will get a little bit of bonus love from the algorithms there. So I would start by doing some really original content and not worrying about making it to that front page of drum lessons or online drum lessons. Like there's too much competition.
Yeah.
Lead in the niche.
Right.
So that would be if I was doing the education thing. Now, if I was trying to become a musician on Instagram, the first thing I would do as a drummer is completely stop caring about what drummers think, because they're the only people that can never hire me. So I don't care what they think. I don't need to impress them. I would probably put up a few groove-based videos that would get non-drummers to start to like my stuff. But then immediately I would just be grabbing anyone that had 5 to 20,000 followers. I wouldn't go over 20,000 followers. I'd be grabbing their videos and I would be drumming to their guitar parts, to their bass parts, and to their vocal lines. The reason I wouldn't go over 20,000 is if somebody has more than 20,000 followers, you playing drums to their music doesn't mean anything to them. But if somebody has 4,000 followers and they're just stoked to be playing guitar, and then they hear that you went out of your way and recorded drums to their track, they're going to be so excited about that. They're obviously going to share that video. And now 4,000 guitarists know who you are as a drummer. And even if you can only get 200 or 300 of them, that's 200 or 300 guitarists that know who you are. Then you do it with bass, and you do it with piano, and you do it with this guy that's making, loops for hip hop musicians. And then you're just funneling in all of these musicians from all around the world that know who you are as a drummer. And now you've got a following that's really something you can do something with.
Yeah, you can do that once a week. You'd find some guitar riff that you like. And
easy.
Yeah. And that would
easy. I'll tell you right now. Just use the channel at Pickup Jazz.
Oh
Pickup
yeah, I follow them. Absolutely, they're great.
Yeah, they'll find everyone for you.
Yeah,
and the content's so killer. So it's like, dude, there you go. You're set. I mean, that's what I would do rather than trying to blow away the drum industry with how fast you are or whatever.
You said something in passing that I think is one of the most important things you said. You said the drummer's the only guy that can't hire you.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say.
Yeah,
that's really a unique way of looking at that.
That's such a simple concept that is so powerful that nobody thinks about.
Right. Well, and you have to know who you are as an entity. Like all of my income, 100% of my income comes from drummers. So of course I'm going to make content that is drum candy. I want drummers to follow me and to eventually say, hey, how do you do that? And I can say, oh, I have this website called Mike'sLessons.com. But that's why I was saying, if you want to be an educator, it's a very different approach, because then you are marketing to your instrument. If you want to be a musician, stop marketing to your instrument. Those people, they don't want you to succeed. So don't market to them, market to producers and people that could hire you.
Yep. Well said.
Absolutely.
I don't know why I'm yelling so much with you guys. I feel like Bill Burr.
I love Bill Burr, dude.
He's a good dude
and a good drummer.
I got a chance to give him a private. I got a chance to give him a private lesson in LA, and then we've spent some time together. And he can play. He's a legit player. He's a good dude.
Yeah, love Bill Burr. Huge fan of his podcast. So, Mike, thank you so much, man. We really appreciate you taking time out of your day here to drop some value bombs. I mean, this has been super awesome, and we're super glad you're here.
Oh, thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and thanks for giving me this cathartic chance to yell about things that I'm passionate about. It's been awesome.
Oh, man, we love it.
Yeah, you're welcome back anytime, man. Thanks so much. Hey, guys. First of all, thank you so much for listening. If you could please take a quick moment to subscribe on iTunes and leave a rating and review. Your feedback seriously is really important, and it helps us keep the show alive.
Check out musicianstalkshow.com to sign up for our mailing list. If you do, we're going to send you our main theme song and a few other surprises. Plus, you'll always be the first to know what episodes are coming up.
If you want to help support the show so we can keep putting out the highest quality content possible, please follow the Support the Show link at our website and consider donating to our Patreon page.
Lastly, if you have an idea for a guest or a question you want to discuss, contact us through any of the contact forms on our website, and we'll do everything we can to make it happen.
Whew, all right. That was a lot, but we got through it. Thanks again, guys, and we will see you soon.